RotoGrinders, Dean here. Dean 78904. If you want to get all technical, 2+ hours nonstop MLB DFS conversation, taking y'all straight up the lock. You got crunch time coming in about an hour and 15 minutes. I believe it's no Rolf. TJ Zwarych. You got Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, and the hater of fun, TastefulTides, Tim, will be here in about 15 minutes. So myself and Kirkies on a Monday on a 6-gamer. Plenty of time to talk about the slate, plenty of time to engage with the chat. What's up, chat? Kindly hit that like button, to subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things. What's up? A special hello to J3 in the chat that says, I don't know if he polled everybody or not, but apparently the people want Dean, that's me, to get a week-long paid vacation for July 4th holiday. Sure.
And
okay, we'll take it.
From what I gather, let's get the chat going. They want Kirk D's to get health insurance. Let's see how much we can get that rolling. Yeah. You a vacation, me health insurance, and then that's all the man wants.
Well, we'll see if we can make that happen. I don't have that ability to do so. I don't think J3 has the ability to do so, but certainly that would be great. I'm going to be here tomorrow for sure. I think there's an early slate. I'm not sure if it's double duty as far as a night slate as well, but there for the 4th, obviously a bunch of early games. You mentioned, did you already knock it out, Kirkwood? You went to the pool earlier today? Is that it? Is that our July 4th festivities? Or that was just like the appetizer for tomorrow? Big plans for tomorrow?
Yeah, so I went home. Yeah, I've been a little, it's been all about family this weekend. So yesterday I went home to visit my parents with the baby. We stayed the night there. We drove back to Boston today, and we had a pool party over in there's a pool in my apartment complex, and we had a bunch of kids over, and it was a really good time. They're still down there, actually. So, I sacrificed that to come back here to make sure the people are all set up and straight for this slate. Let's all the degens out there who don't care that it's 4th of July Eve, Independence Day, who are going to be playing slates. I'm going to be playing the slate, so let's get it.
Do you have to reserve the pool? How does that work? How do you make sure some hooligans are going to come along and ruin the party?
Well, so we had so you know what it is? A bunch of nothing turns away hooligans. Nothing. It's like garlic around the neck when there's like a bunch of babies in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it works itself out.
Let's go play PlayStation. Never screw this. Let's go back inside.
What the hell is Big T doing in here?
Big T, what's up? I don't know. You and Big T.
You want to know why they call? You want to know why they call him Big T?
There's a lot of answers, but I'll just yield to you. Go ahead. You tell me why they call him Big T.
Big old Aristides. Remember Aristides Aquino?
I do. He's not on this Cincinnati team that's been winning every single day, basically. But where is he? I feel like that's the guy who would absolutely be smashing over like in Asia.
He should be smashing. Yeah, he should. Wherever he is, he should be smashing. He was electric when he first came. I mean, he was like Ellie right off the bat. Like, you know what I mean? He was just like the Punisher. And he had the greatest nickname, the Punisher. Like, how great was that?
Oh yeah.
I made that up.
I'm trying to see where he's at. Is he somewhere in the? Let's see. Oh, he's playing in the Nippon professional baseball. I believe, is that Korea? I think it's Korea. Don't quote me that. Might be Japan. Not certain. Somewhere over in Asia. I bet he's crushing. If you're playing like DFS over there, Aquino is like, he's like the Ronald Acuna or something like that, 6.6K or something like that. But we got all the stars. Big T in chat, Bobby Gomes, Don Yeezy. What's up, chat? Appreciate y'all hanging out with here. 2 hours till we get to lock. Plenty of time to knock everything out here, Kirkwood, as far as this slate today. It's, we got plenty of time to talk about it as thorough as you want to. It's pretty straightforward as far as pitching. No longer Coors Field, thankfully. Snell and Ryan are basically 1 and 1A, depending on where you're shopping. I think Ryan's going to be more popular on Fanduel. Snell's going to be more popular on DK. Just the way salaries work. Snell, for whatever reason, seems too cheap on DK, and Ryan is less than 10K. I know he's got his face punched in of late, but should be a bounce back spot against Kansas City. Their lineup just dropped, by the way. No Sal Perez. So that lineup for Kansas City already weak as is. And there's no Sal Perez for the Royals. Your overview as far as the slate, what are you seeing here, Kirkwood?
I like it. It's short, compact slate, 6 games. That's kind of like the sweet spot, especially if you're doing content. Nothing's worse when we got like these 13 gamers and we got to be ready for everything. 6 is nice and sweet. Plus, it's enough to get different where ownerships shouldn't be too crazy. Not like a four gamer would be, but it's basically every pitcher is like, I really don't want to like attack them except for one, right? So maybe, and then we have a little bit of weather concern. Is there any weather?
Who's the one? Who's the one that you think is the clear and obvious worst pitcher?
Remember last week you recommended a reach around to Cox. Remember that?
Atlanta, the pick on Austin Cox. Yes, with the yeah.
And
are you suggesting you like that again today with Minnesota?
I love it, but everyone else loves it too. And Minnesota is one of the most gutless teams. They're up there in the gut.
Well, wait, you want the gutless teams?
No, that's why I like it and I love it. But like, I gotta like think about it because it's going to be chalk, and Minnesota's gutless. So those are two warning signs right there.
I'll give you a third warning sign, by the way. We're not sure how deep Cox is going to go. Austin Cox, that is. I know. I quickly threw his name in there.
Well,
you can still clip that and have some fun. As far as how many innings he'll pitch. So he's getting ramped up. We're expecting 82 pitches for Austin Cox. And a righty's going to come in, almost definitely, most likely, right? And this Minnesota team, they've said it before several times. They are not afraid to pinch hit. They're not afraid to pinch hit early. They got a little San Francisco in them. And guys like Donovan Solano, Kyle Farmer, Will Castro, Miranda, who's back. We've seen Michael A. Taylor get pinch hit for versus righties. I'm just a little bit concerned as far as some players getting the hook. I'm not saying it's going to for sure happen, but Julien is a guy that for sure can enter the game. He's a lefty. Depending on the situation, you never really know when the situation is going to come up or not. That's why I'm a little bit apprehensive.
Kirilloff's still healthy, right?
Yes, it's another one. As far as I know, Kirilloff's good to go. Yeah, those guys are both lurking in the bench. They're both lefties, and
Gallo,
if the situation calls for it, like in the fifth inning,
they're definitely coming in. This is what they do, and you know what? There's nothing funnier. Okay, there's nothing funnier than like people like everyone loves to play like Donovan Solano batting second. Like when you knew an opener was coming, or not, like with not Solano. Who's the guy that you just said that's coming in behind him? The
Julien.
Julien. Right, like everybody plays him, but he's had like the massive pinch hit risk. But everyone avoids it when he's batting in the first, like in the top of the order. Even though it was like so obvious he was going to get pulled. And you even said that on the show. I was ahead of it too. I was like, there's no way you can play that guy. But I remember listening to the show. You were on it too, and then they have the balls, right? Like everyone loves what an optimizer spits out, but then like some kid makes the like genius play on Twitter, genius play in Showdown the other day where he plays Blake Sable, and I think he did it on purpose, and I think it was genius. And he's probably going to get the same amount of at bats as the other guys in that game, if anyone knows. And then like people are flaming him on Twitter like he doesn't know what he's doing. Like that was like a GOAT Showdown play.
So I saw what you saw. I've been on Twitter sparingly because I'm not sure if you've been on. It's a miserable experience.
Everyone's complaining about Elon, and I haven't been on enough to get limited or what is going on right now.
Well, you can't even see. Like my tweet deck was blown up, and there was a new tweet deck that came out that's not as good, and then it's like you can only. I mean, I don't know, but I'm sure other people have speculated, but it feels like he's intentionally blowing it up just so people will spend the $8. Like I think he's trying to make it as miserable as possible so people cave, like intentionally making the product weaker. I don't know. I have no idea. But that feels like that's like the business strategy here. And every third tweet is a commercial as well. It's all ads. But I don't want to get on the soapbox there. It's not great.
Well, I mean, have you been on Facebook? When was the last time you've been on Facebook?
No, I don't. Yeah, I've not been on Facebook I mean, I have like
Facebook is like 100% like ads now. It's like,
is that what it is? Yeah, I'm like never.
And then an occasional fan, like an occasional baby, or if you're lucky, quote unquote, the only reason you use Facebook when you're my age is to see who's passed away. You're like, that's how you learn about who's passed away.
It's terrible. And then once a year, it's like, hey, happy birthday! Remember that time?
Oh no! And then you send one happy birthday to somebody that like you actually care about, and then you're like, oh man, well, now I got to send this. I should probably send this guy the birthday. You get into these
You're pot committed
things. It's so stupid. And there's like people who literally never miss. Like I know, like people I'm just acquaintances with have never missed sending me a happy birthday on there, and I'm like, this is impressive stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need that. I mean, I appreciate the thought is nice, I suppose, but like it's it's all right. I appreciate you wishing me happy birthday, but it's just a chore for you, most likely. The generic you. I don't mean you specifically. You know what I'm saying? But and I think the parents just took over Facebook, is my understanding. Like once,
but I'll tell you who the greatest.
Your parents got on there.
You haven't experienced Facebook, right? Unless you're friends with CJ Kaltenbach on there.
I'm not. To tell me what I'm missing out on.
Greatest friend I've ever had on there. People. There's rumors out there that he has a little problem with the sauce from time to time, right? Like you remember that a little bit, right? That's a classic CJ.
I remember there was a podcast once upon a time. It's yes, sure.
Well, it's like you get these like he's like, that person that craves attention and is like, why do I, why, like my friends let me down time and time again, even though I do that. He's that guy at like 2 a.m. probably after he's been on a little bit of sauce or something. But I mean, if I could just read one every day, like on here, well, maybe I should do that. Like incorporate that, like one of his like best posts. Want me to look one up? I'll look one up.
I mean, we have time. I'm not necessarily encouraging this, but we do have time with the 6-game slate. We still have an hour until we yield to crunch time. By the way, according to, I believe that's Devin in the account there in the old YouTube on the RG account, apparently unpaid bills. Is there an unpaid bill for Elon? I saw he was like not paying a bill to Google, possibly in the cloud. This is not my area of expertise, but I don't know how the cloud works.
The speculation is that he's got the bandwidth issues, that he never like paid the bills for it, so now he's trying to throttle it to cut down on users using it, bottlenecking his own product.
Didn't he fire like 80% of his staff as well? Like, I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
Story checks out, right?
I guess, but all right.
He's actually been in a good mood as late, so he was out in Vegas. That probably tells the story. So
this is CJ or this is Elon?
CJ. Yeah. I don't care about Elon. Yeah. I care about Siege.
Yeah. Well, I hope he's doing well too. I was gonna. Yeah. So if you feel free to share anything that comes up that's interesting of note, I suppose. We do have an hour to get through this. I just bought my lineups. Give my starting lineups on Twitter, and let's see what's the most recent starting lineup we got. And hopefully, I'm not going to get log jammed as far as I've seen 600 tweets already today. Braves last to come out. I did see that pre-show. Acuna, Albies, Riley, Olsen, Murphy, Ozuna, Rosario, Arcia, and Harris. We did say the Royals are without Sal Perez. Garcia leading off. Garcia, Witt, Prado, Olivares, Melendez, Fermin, Waters, Isbell, and Lopez. That is a rough Kansas City lineup. Did you play the day slate, by the way? A lot of runs this day slate. I didn't play it, but I was looking at the scores. It's pretty massive.
Party, but it makes sense.
Right.
The weather is nice out and about.
Yeah, and I've been talking about. I'm so bummed that I didn't. What's it called? The regression monster is finally starting to visit Julio Teheran. I kept betting against him, and
you stopped martingaling? Stop martingaling?
I got him last game, I think, but like it wasn't enough because something else goofy happened in the slate. But again today, he got hit pretty hard. So yeah, he's been exposed as a fraud. What lineups are we waiting for? We're still waiting for the Mariners, the Giants. Wade, by the way, is questionable. We'll see if he goes. He's pretty interesting if he does play. Woo, young prospect, looks pretty solid so far. He got his face punched in his first start of the season, but since then, he's corrected it and righted the ship and has been really, really solid of late. We're not certain about Kershaw. At least I don't think we are. There's talks of him going on the IL, and just the way it's timed up and lined up with the All-Star game, it's more or less like rest. I don't think they want him pitching in the All-Star game either. As of right now, we're projecting Michael Grove to draw the start, and I think that's the most likely scenario. I did see FanDuel had Kershaw in their like projected lineups or whatever you want to call it. Have we seen a new note on that? Are you aware of this? If it's Kershaw or if it's Grove? I assume it's Grove.
It's Grove. It's from everything I've said is Grove.
Okay. Yeah, because this was supposed to be Kershaw's spot, but they might give him like a mysterious injury, like inflammation or something like that, and throw him on the IL. It works out with the All-Star game, the All-Star break, give him some extra time. So yeah, your thoughts as far as Joe Ryan and Blake Snell. Snell much better of late, in the last 30 days as opposed to the start of the season. Joe Ryan, sort of the inverse of that, right? Joe Ryan has been destroyed of late, but under the hood looks pretty good. Just seems like some goofy BABIP, some goofy home run the fly ball variants, and also just playing against the Braves. The Braves are just they just destroy, man. They are so good. Perez for the Marlins didn't even get out of the first inning the other day, just completely got annihilated. Last time Ryan faced the Braves, he gave up 5 home runs. Thankfully, I think they're all solo jobs. 6 runs in total. But he got hit really hard. Start before that against Boston went well. That was the old CGSO. But after that, sandwiched between was Detroit hitting him pretty hard, Atlanta hitting pretty hard. He dropped a CGSO on your Boston Red Sox. But I feel pretty good about Joe Ryan against this bad Kansas City lineup versus Snell. How do you have it as far as 1 and 1A? I'm looking at the bat. The bat's got those two basically in their own tier as far as projection. They're currently median projection almost 20 points on DK for both of them, and the next closest number is about 16. So they're in their own world as far as projection on this slate. Are you trying to double barrel those two? Your thoughts here when it comes to starting pitchers?
Yeah, I mean that's the obvious first selection is to double pair them. Let's talk about Joe Ryan first. Okay, so I'm fully fine with Joe Ryan. I think he's legit. So basically, he's had an outstanding four-seamer, like a sick four-seamer fastball that's like been his go-to, and it's carried him all season. And his secondaries have been awful. Like they've been work in progress, not awful, depending on the game. But if you dig under the hood against Atlanta, which was first of all is the toughest matchup in baseball, like if the answer is Atlanta every night is like the first team you want to play. It doesn't matter, and if it's against Joe Ryan, who cares? Because you want to, especially when it's at home and when it's nice and humid in Atlanta, like their offense is just ridiculous. They're an all-star team offense for the most part, So I give him a pass for one, and it was extremely hot and humid there when he played. That gives him another pass. His fastball was terrible, and that's his money pitch. So he was 3 out of 40 whiffs, so swinging strikes, which is horrendous for him. So, but he actually had a sweeper going, which he's been working on, and so he's got all these other secondaries that should be, when they are pretty good. If his fastball's on, he'll be like almost unhittable. So. I saw a lot of good signs in his secondaries in that start, and his fastball was just gone, and they knew it, and they just jumped on him. So let's hope the fastball returns. And why wouldn't it return against the Royals, who this is just the worst lineup I've ever seen? Is it not?
It's pretty terrible. It's not good. It's not. It's not imposing.
Besides Bobby Witt Jr., I'd probably take Bobby Gomes over any of these other guys.
What's the scouting report on Bobby Gomes?
Big juicer, which I like.
I believe he's in the chat, just so you know. Just throwing out these slanderous allegations.
Huge juicer. The guy's been on the sauce for years. So, but he's
the same sauce as CJ, or the different kind of sauce?
No, a different kind of special,
sauce.
The electric stuff. But it's probably all legal. He's got some connection, it's all legal. So he's a power hitter.
Yeah. I'm pulling up the old play IQ as far as this Kansas City lineup versus righties on the season. There is a little bit of contact here, I suppose. If you're going one thing, you're going to poke a hole in it. 24% Ks, but like that's inflated by Prado being 36% and Waters being 33%. But it's not very good. In a small sample for me, shown some power and good for him. Waters, same deal, but we're just not afraid of these guys. And you got K's right up top, which you love. Like third time around, you never really guaranteed to get the bottom guys 3 times, but you get Garcia, Witt, and Prado, 25%, 22%, 36%. I want to get Prado a third time. Feel really, really good about Joe Ryan. By the way, you mentioned the All-Star team, and I'm pulling up the All-Stars. Do you know how many Braves are on the All-Star team? Hitters only. How many Atlanta hitters are in the All-Star game? Have been either elected or named as reserves?
I don't know, a lot. Like 5+.
You won't even play along? Like you can just go around the horn, right? Just play along. He started the catcher spot. Is their catcher an all-star?
Yes, Sean Murphy. Yes.
Yeah, he's an all-star. Is their first baseman an all-star?
Yes.
Well, their former first baseman, Freddie Freeman's a starter, and their current first baseman is the reserve. Matt Olson is the reserve. So both their former and current. Second base? Is there second base?
I'm gonna say yeah, they made him one, but I'm not sure.
Not elected because Lisa Rise somehow was elected. I can't. Well, the Marlins must have stopped those ballots or something goofy.
Yeah.
Or maybe is the league really excited about watching a bunch of singles?
Batting average. Yeah.
That's old guys like loving it for some reason. It's impressive. Like good for him and all his singles. But Ozzie Albies, he is a reserve. Their second baseman. Third base. The third base is Austin Riley. Was he elected as a starter?
No, but a reserve.
He is a reserve. Nolan Arenado is elected as the starter, but this one,
Cardi hates to see that, doesn't he?
You know what? Cardi certainly did not vote for Nolan Arenado, but shortstop. Their shortstop, the one player who's
he made it somehow. Is that true?
Orlando Arcia is the starting shortstop. How is that?
Yeah.
Who did he beat? Like that seems.
They probably rallied around him for the votes. Like, let's get this guy. Like everyone.
Why? I mean, is Trey Turner? I'm trying to think who should beat him out.
Turner stinks this year.
Well, I mean, like Orlando Arcia is like fine, but he's not an all-star. He's not a starting all-star.
Maybe defensively.
That's what people are voting on. Oh, that guy,
like Ozzie Smith, like Ozzie Smith.
Ozzie Smith, 1985.
Remember he used to do the flips. He used to come on and do the flips for the
yeah. But like Derek Jeter, like Matt was one of the worst defenders of all time, and people think he's the greatest player in baseball. So that's a whole other conversation.
I hate your takes, but let's.
No, that's just math. The people
let's just keep going. No, so there's more to sports than math. Math is a big part of it, but there's a lot of other things.
No, defensive metrics. Jeter was horrendous when it comes to defensive metrics. This is not like an argument point. This is not me. It's not for conversation. It's just facts.
I'm a Boston guy, and I hate Derek Jeter, and I hate the Yankees, and I have respect for Derek Jeter. Like that's a lot. That says a lot.
Let's see. Lindor, Swanson, other guys that they're sort of mentioned there in the chat. Lindor kind of a down year for him too, but yeah. So shout out to the Braves. Basically, if you're on the Braves, you made the All-Star team. Acuna made it as well. Any outfielders besides Acuna or just Acuna? I think it's just Acuna.
Well, it's not Ozuna. I'll tell you that.
Even Bryce Elder is on the All-Star team. How did that happen? He's been okay, but really? Okay, good for him. Spencer Strider, of course, on the All-Star team as well. All right. 1 and 1A as far as Ryan versus Snell. Who are you prioritizing amongst the two?
Ryan against that lineup. I mean, Snell should. I'll tell you, the Angels are gutless too. But they certainly have more talent in that roster. And so you're still facing Trout. You're still facing Shohei, even though it's the lefty. They got Ward. They got Rendon, who finally hit one. They got Renfroe. So, I mean, to me, even though recent form says Snell, I mean, Snell has been awesome this last month, has really kicked it in, turned it up a notch, but and his command has been good, but he's always, you never know what you're going to see with him. So I think that this should be. Now, what happens in baseball, we all, things go crazy every day, but Joe Ryan should breeze through this lineup.
By the way, we have we jump on the Plate IQ. Like one of the new things you can do with the new options is last 30 days. Last 30 days for Snell, right? And then there's some small samples against lefties. It's only 9 lefties because nobody throws lefties against them. But 66.7%. I guess he struck out like 6 of 12. Yeah, 6 of 9 hitters. But all in total, his K rate in the last 30 days for Snell is 46.5%, which it's that's outrageous. And even the walk rate is just 7%. So, I mean, again, on a dime, inning to inning things can change this guy.
Small sample alert. You're going to get the police on us, Dean.
Well, I suppose, but at the end of the day, like, well, okay, then all of a sudden Snell drops a 50 spot again, and it's like, well, by the time we actually have the sample, you don't have the ability to use it because the game's already been played. So how do you handle that? What's the strategy there, Devin? How about that?
Well, and to that point, 105 plate appearances for righties. That's actually a pretty substantial sample size for a 44%.
Yeah, I mean it's outrageous what Snell's been doing. as far as the Angels, like you said, it's Ohtani and it's Trout and it's everybody else. And sure, they have Rendon back, but I mean, is he more just like a name at this point, Kirkwood? Do we still think he's? I mean,
he popped one the other.
Or no?
He hit a home run the other night. Popped one.
So he's a gutless or he's no longer gutless? What's the ruling here?
The whole team is freaking gutless. It was just pathetic.
Even Ohtani? Ohtani's
I
gutless?
bet on it. Yeah, gutless, especially lefty.
On.
Gutless.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. He hits a homer when it doesn't.
To
he hits homers when it doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh. What a terror. This is what people used to say about A-Rod.
Gutless.
I believe.
Gutless. I threw a bunch of money on them after I had a big UFC night on Saturday night. And then they just put me to bed. It was just they went up 1-0 and then their bullpen just blew it.
Wait, are you blaming Ohtani for UFC not going well for you? As well?
No, UFC went great. UFC went great,
Oh.
and then I hammered. They ended early, so I had nothing to do, and there was another game on, so I hammered the Angels.
He just had like the greatest month in baseball, like in a long, whatever. What do you have? 15, 16 home runs in June?
Yeah, he was
That's
nowhere to be found on Saturday night. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. He goes over 4 one night, and all of a sudden he's a bum.
Looked pathetic doing it too. Just like
you're only as good as your last at bat, right? Is that the story here, Kirkwood?
Yeah, he's regressing.
I think he's going to be okay. But like Alex in chat dropping the Ohtani high leverage stats, the triple slash, 308, 417, 615. How about that?
Get these nerds out of here. I'll give you.
If you're going to make slanderous statements, you got to be able to back it up.
No, I don't. I just can say what I want. And the fact is, when I had my money on him, he did not come through.
Well, okay, but like, why didn't you bet him at a home run every single day in June? If you did that, you'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what Spidey bombs. I think that's the secret behind Spidey bombs. Yeah, everyone got the Spidey bomb, the 0-2 against the White Sox or something when game was completely over. 2 outs, 0-2 count, and then he hit a bomb for every and that was the craziest slate because Luis Robert stole 2 bases in the 9th, meaningless, stole second and then stole third, and then Ohtani and everybody had that like pair. Everyone had both of them and just shot up. It's crazy.
TJ in chats, he'll be on later. I assume Spidey bombs were lurking, so do hit that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications, do all those things. Help us keep the lights on and help Spidey. I don't know if Spidey's going to be working or if Spidey's available because I'm pretty sure TJ is doing the hosting with Tim and just kind of a
it's not a holiday out there in Canada. It's not Canada Day. It's not
Canada Day was the first. It's Go Canada Day / Bobby Bonilla Day, right? I'm sure Twitter, if it was working, it would have let everybody know. On July 1st, that's when Bobby Bo gets a
and now Chris Davis. Did you see Chris Davis's contract? He has like a bunch now. His is all kicking in. He's got like that Bonilla contract too.
They cut him with a ton of money.
The CH, yeah.
Baltimore, Chris Davis.
Baltimore, yeah.
Oh, what a disastrous contract that was. But
he was just he was just the crazy and like that was just the craziest from like pretty good to like fell off to nothing and it was just like he was the worst player in all time with baseball. And then Cardi was still defending him at 2,200 like a slate.
Well, he was like, I don't know if it was accidental, but some days he was like $600 on FanDuel. Remember that? Like he was.
I think no, that was
down,
they
like
did that. They did that purposely because he was so bad and he was the biggest joke. Honestly, that's what they did.
Yeah, and I think I played him and I'm pretty sure he struck out every time. It was so bad. All right, back to this slate. Beyond the top 2, Snell and Ryan, some pretty good pitchers, right? And like the slate is more pitching than it is hitting. I think that's pretty safe to say. I was reading Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, his musings, and I think he said amongst the 12 dudes throwing baseballs today, like nine are like rosterable. And I guess that means like Berea, Cox?
I think everyone but those 2 are rosterable. And Berea is like even potentially rosterable.
Yeah, because the Padres also gutless?
Correct.
I need like your gutless scale though. If everybody's gutless, then
I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look through my results. And I'm gonna come out with a gutlet. I'm gonna do one of your Dean gutless rankings. Okay.
Wait, it's all results oriented, like as far as who's gutless. Depending on when you bet them, that doesn't make any sense.
It's my rankings. I'll rank them however I want.
Fair enough.
That might be that might be the first condition right there.
Bobby
What
and Chad says,
what have they done for me?
Are very gutless.
Yeah, they of course they are. They're fighting. They're talking about blowing it up. Like it's like this was like
They're
another.
not blowing it up. They can't. They're Tupac committed to blow it up.
There's talks, Dean.
They're trading for Dame. Is Dame Lillard going to be a Padre?
Oh no, he's going to be a Celtic.
I've heard that. Yeah, Celtics, Spur, Heat. Like again, I can't really get on Twitter, but like the things that I've seen out there. What a heist there'll be for Miami if they can somehow dump Duncan Robinson, including as not just getting Lillard, but dump Duncan Robinson, which has been spoken out there. But we'll see. Stay tuned on that. Is that the latest news as far as Boston? I guess Brown not signing. Is that what it would be? Brown maybe sign and trade? Is that what you've heard?
I don't know. I don't get into the details. Chop likes to follow every little detail 24 hours a day and they talk about it in our secret chat, but I'm focused on baseball. You know what I mean?
You gotta get me an invite to this secret chat. I want to partake. I want to enjoy this. I can add to this conversation. I'll tell you who's gutless. If that's
I don't
what
know.
you do.
You know what? You're a good sport too. You could handle it. Like some people couldn't handle it in there. Like I'm borderline. Like I'm kind of sensitive, like a little bit. And so I get in, like, it gets personal with me, like sometimes, and and then I have to calm myself down a little bit. But like it's not meant for everybody.
I have not been banned on Twitter. No. Bobby's asking if I've been banned. No. I mean, it's just not working well for me is all. Royce Lewis diagnosed with a grade 2 oblique strain, expected to miss the next 6 weeks or so. Let's talk beyond the top two pitchers. Top two pitchers here are pretty clear. Joe Ryan, Blake Snell. And then there's some good pitchers. The matchup's not spectacular, right? Do you want to pick on the Dodgers? Not necessarily, but Mitch Keller's been good this season. Do you want to I guess you can pick on Seattle, but Webb's pretty good ballpark. He's probably the next guy. Woo, this is like depending on where you're shopping. Woo is 9.2 on FanDuel. I guess
the nature boy.
That. Yeah, but like they respect him a lot more on FanDuel than they do on DK. DK is 6.6. I'm seeing ownership on DK 20%, FanDuel at 5%. Again, after his first start, he's been pretty solid. Elder's pretty good, but like Cleveland contact heavy, and they're asking 9. What on FanDuel they're asking 9.7 for Elder. That's just a tough ask. That's all-star Bryce Elder. Put some respect on that. Better price on DK where he's 8.1. Even there, he's still not garnering a ton of ownership.
Even Yahoo hasn't priced up Woo yet.
What do they have him at?
35.
Somebody was saying that like nobody on New York outside of one person is in double digits as far as the hitters in the Yankees. Do you happen to catch that yet? I'm not sure if you're playing Yahoo today or not.
On Yahoo? Yeah, everyone's dirt cheap on the Yankees.
Who's the one guy that's expensive?
Want to know why?
Well, because they're gutless.
Exactly.
Yahoo knows who's gutless.
It's freaking crazy. So it's $7. It's minimum for LeMahieu, minimum for Glaber, $1 increase for Stanton, minimum for Rizzo, $2 increase for Bader, minimum for Josh Donaldson, Kiner Falefa is 11. No, he's 9. So the highest priced bet is Volpe.
Wow.
For $11, and Higashioka's down to 7.
That's yeah. You can go double barrel and get yourself some Yankees pretty easily. I've not built it.
And they have Tyler Wells as the most expensive pitcher.
$51 from Tyler Wells. That seems kind of outrageous.
And then
Ryan
you go to the
48.
nature boy is still 35.
How do you feel about Woo as a step down, especially on DK? I guess Yahoo as well. Who's your next favorite pitcher, all things considered, on DK? I'm giving you a refresh when it comes to ownership. We're seeing 54% on Snell, 41% on Ryan. Webb's getting 32%. Solid pitcher. Woo's getting 20. Wells getting 18. Where the price is pretty good, 7.7K against those gutless Yankees, judgeless Yankees as well. If you need a fully stacked, fully punt, Grove is your guy. If you're spending up for Atlanta or something like that, Grove comes with some pedigree, but he has not been good. Pittsburgh should have Reynolds back tonight, so their lineup should be better. But, if I'm running 150, I'm not. Grove's probably in my pool. I'd probably get a pinch to open stuff up if I want to get, Olsen and Acuna in the same lineup, that kind of thing. It's interesting that Domingo Hambron coming off, the 24th all-time perfect game is kind of neglected, and the price is pretty fair, 7.2K, and we're looking at 8% ownership on DK. Baltimore, tough offense. Lefty's, pretty solid there in that ballpark as well. I don't love Herman, but I just thought he would be a little bit more popular. You have an official take as far as beyond Snell and Ryan, which is the chalkiest pitchers. And it's not hard to get to. And again, I think you're prioritizing arms first because the slate's not great when it comes to hitters. You have some salary savers out there in Minnesota. We already kind of talked about how those guys might be fraudulent. It might be a trap. And I feel the same way. But, and if I want Atlanta, then that's kind of tricky. I can't go double barrel with Snell and Ryan. We do live in the world of a salary cap. But yeah, give me your next favorite pitchers beyond Snell and Ryan.
Can I vent a little bit just for a second too?
Sure.
I think it was Friday night. So Friday night I entered the 888 and like a bunch of other things, and I had the Atlanta stack, and I made one switch literally right before lock. So I had Rosario in there and
for Atlanta
and the Pirates picture beat up Bido.
Mm-hmm.
So I originally had Rosario and Soroka, and then I switched to Bido and Ozuna, and it was like a 30-something point switch, and I had like an insane team for the bats, and I would have been, if I had that switch going, I would have been in first all night. And the good news is that I would have gotten beaten out of first because of I think it was the Whites, because it's just something stupid that happened that would have, like the very end, that was meaningless, that would have like on crazy out of nowhere. But I ended up playing Mean Dean Creamer, and he did not.
That didn't go well for you.
Dean Shavelson scored more points than Mean Dean Kramer that night. I had two negatives, and I had every bat nailed, and I had two negative pitchers. It was just so tilting. Anyway, so I want to avoid that tonight, but I do want the bats. I do want Atlanta. But for pitching, so I mean, if we can get, I love the Nature Boy Woo.
Yeah,
I don't understand why like he's not getting like pounded. Like he's been popular, but they're not pricing him right, and he's been popular, but he hasn't been popular enough for the price. He's thrown 91, 93, 88 pitches, so it's like we're not going to get the 100 pitches from him, but he's going a decent, good length. He's got an electric fastball. His secondaries have not been there yet. He's really only has two, I think. He's got a changeup that he barely uses, and he's got a slider that can be good, can be bad. That's all you need. You need you need three to be a really effective pitcher, and for strikeouts, you need an electric fastball. You need a good slider. That's really all you need, and some can get by with that. But you typically need one more pitch, and that's what he's trying to do with the changeup. And I mean, I'm on board with this kid, and the matchup is great. But the thing I like best about it is that San Francisco played a deep game last night in New York. Right, that was like delayed, right? Wasn't that delayed, or the night game? And then has to travel all the way across the country. And after a weekend in New York on Independence Day weekend, typically, so I'm sure potentially got a little crazy in there. And now flies across country, and they get Woo. So I think this is a perfect spot for him to just. I don't expect much out of San Francisco tonight whatsoever. So I'm like all in on Woo.
You think Wade plays? I think that matters a little bit. I like Woo as is, but if Wade's out, who's?
Yeah, I think he plays. He pinched.
Okay.
He pinch hit late in the game. So I think that's usually a sign that he's ready to go.
Okay. I prefer him not to play, but yeah. If I'm on Woo, I prefer no Wade. I'm not going to run away, like you say. You still play him, obviously. But yeah, it would be a slight bump to Woo. I think the reason why I ran some optimals, I think the reason why we're getting Snell and Ryan 1-2. Let's see, I'm getting 63% Snell, 51% Ryan, 48% Webb, 13% Wells, 11% Grove. It's interesting, only 5% Woo. I think Woo is getting a little disrespected here in our projection. Herman at 8% for what it's worth, and Keller getting 4. I think Keller is interesting for tournaments just because, good arsenal. You don't necessarily want to pick on the Dodgers, but you can catch him on the right night. Nice ballpark to pitch in as well. And, just ownership stuff. It's certainly possible that Keller can outscore everybody in the slate. He can outscore Snell and Ryan. It wouldn't shock you, right, if Keller outscored those guys?
No, and it wouldn't shock me if Logan Webb goes crazy tonight and outscores everybody.
Correct.
Those two of those guys are somewhat similar pitchers. I think Webb has earned more, been better for longer. And Keller had a great start, and everybody, and Cheese and I was the same opinion of Cheese. I thought everything is for real, and I still think he is for real, but he's fallen off some. But they're pretty similar. And I think he's young. He's gonna get better, Mitch Keller. His slider's gonna develop nasty, and once that happens, he's gonna be like a complete pitcher, I think. But the Pirates are a gutless organization, Dean. You can never trust.
Everybody's gutless. Nobody's gutless. They all can't be gutless.
You can never trust. That's unfortunately we're dealing with a lot of gutless teams these days in MLB.
Who has guts? Give me that. How about that? Let's go.
Atlanta. Atlanta has guts. Okay.
What if they score 1 run tonight and they get shut out? Essentially, are they now?
That happened. I'll give. Well, it depends. If I have a lot of money on them, yeah, it's going to take me at least a week to get over it, probably.
So it takes a week when you're labeled gutless. It takes a week to kick that label to recover from it.
Pretty much, or some never kick that.
162 games. You're going to have some quote unquote gutless games. Like that's just how. No matter how good your team is, that's just how it goes.
Eric Lynn knows lots of gutless teams this year. You agree? See, the people know, and also I hear some people saying travel narrative, and it is the travel narrative. But like this is probably the only time throughout the entire season that we'll do baseball where I'll pitch a travel narrative like this. But I think it's legit real. The game was delayed. They went late, long weekend in New York City, and that's as far as a flight as you could possibly get. So
actually, I had the travel narrative a week or two ago when the Cubs were coming back from London. Yeah, and Ranger Suarez was the guy.
That's a caveat because that's outside of the country. Loophole. I said at the farthest flight in the country you could get.
According to Matt, the Rays have a lot of guts. So there you go. Is that one team that has guts?
Yep, they have lots of guts. They do.
What happens when they get swept in the first round of the playoffs? They all of a sudden.
I'll tell you what, the Baltimore had some guts too. They're a little. Then they went gutless the last month, but now it looks like they're all right.
Texas found them.
Texas has cojones. Yeah.
Wait, now we're guts to cojones. So is that apples to oranges?
That's the next step, the next logical step.
All right.
So they're past
yeah.
You go gutless to not gutless to if you have cojones, and then that's the.
I know you have a dew point model. Do you have a cojones model or a guts model? I'd be interested. There actually is something called guts. Like if you go on Fangraphs, it's like a baseball metric that the baseball nerds are into. I suppose you're not, but that's already been taken. If you were thinking about using,
I can't. No, to be honest, I've never worked on this. I think I think you're picking up on something that maybe there is something to this that we should probably investigate here. Someone wants to sign a deal and let's build something, but I've been spending too much time on my weather model.
You've been well actually in the chat, by the way. Miami to Seattle is the longest flight in baseball. I think that makes sense. I think that checks out.
Right. They're close. It's close enough.
They're all. I mean, you're on the podium, I suppose.
Top.
All right. So, like, how many lineups? You making one key lineup? Is that what you're doing? Just one main lineup? Is that it? That strategy?
Probably because I did a show. I just registered right before. If everything's not filled, and because I had the pool party earlier, yes, that's correct. So I had to rush here to get the thing. If I have some time and they're still open, which looks like the 888 will still probably be open. If I really like I'll make a couple other lineups. If I really start to like them, then I'll just start jamming them in. But there was no 250 today, either that or it was already filled. So like that's usually what I would make 4 lineups in, and then play off of that. And so I only made 1 at this point.
Padres lineup is out. Kim leading off. Soto, Tatis, Machado, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Sanchez, Carpenter, and Grisham. So pretty standard lineup there for San Diego. Top Shots was also gutless according to the chat.
And you know who else was gutless? Dean was gutless because he doesn't take responsibility for recommending Top Shot and hosting. He's like, I was just the host of a show. You were hosting a show on Top Shot that gave Top Shot recommendations. Take some, at least have some accountability.
Chop says suggestions. They're not guaranteed.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, but Chop makes that very clear because he's dealt with people who were saying, and so he had to fix that. You've never taken account. Chop is a very accountable man. And I'm glad he did that. You have never taken any accountability for Top Shots, and it's sickening, Dean.
It's my fault.
You and Chief, you guys are on to the next thing. It's like now Chief's got the prop shot. There's no mention of Top Shots.
Well,
guy told me to buy up all these guys off season too.
And that's it. Like if somebody says, "Hey, you know what you should do? This is what you should do with your money," and instantly, without question, here, take all my money. That's it. No research, no nothing. That's on you.
Yeah, you led me to the research by this co-host guy who was like, "This is the greatest investment that you're ever going to make." This is only the beginning. The Asian money's going to come. All of these things that
I asked the hard questions, and we had one of the top guys on. I asked the hard questions, and I don't think he ever came back because I was actually hesitant, and I was like you, or like how you're framing what you were until you're manipulated by me. Allegedly.
Poor Bobby and I spent we spent so much money.
Be okay.
Luckily now he is, and Chop, me and Tambo almost bought a freaking $50,000 LeBron. It was going to be the stupidest thing we've ever done.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't bring me in for a consultation on that one because not only would I would charge you for consultation.
You know what? It was your guys' recommendation, and you guys were like saying, like, "Wow, these things are going to be big. This is such limited. This is the moment, right?" Like, and we were all searching for these moments. Like, I was trying to sell a Miles Bridges moment because it had LaMelo Ball passing it to him. I was like, this is a LaMelo assist. I was trying to
you're framing it and manipulating it, what it actually is.
I actually went in on a $1,000 pack with Cam McMillan and Dave Kitchen for RotoGrinders, and we were I sent them a recording of the pack, and we made two out of 3 in, and it was nothing. It was done.
Yeah, you know what? Poor Devin. These guys, Cam is like a freaking super rich entrepreneur, right? Kitchen. Big high level guy. He was the CEO of RotoGrinders in that trial or whatever. And then poor Devin's here grinding. He's one of the real grinders that was left holding the bag. Right.
Let me hold you back there. We'll pump the brakes because I ended up pulling a Chris Paul and ended up being 3K.
Oh, did you sell it? Did you sell it? But you sold it.
Oh yeah, we sold it immediately.
Yeah, I'm still holding these.
Devin, you're welcome. You're welcome for you're welcome for forcing you to buy Tops. This is the kind of stories that I live for. This is what makes it all worth it.
I actually feel really bad when this topic comes up because I look at like they have these like evaluate market website pages, and I look up just for fun. I look at my account. I'm in the top 3% of the website. I don't know how it happened.
Elon Musk of Top Shots.
It seems
I've got like links that I had saved to like other evaluate market sites, and they're like gone. They don't even list the cards anymore.
It seems like it went through like 3 different ownerships. Yeah, over the span of things.
Serial1.net. It's just nowhere to be found.
T from LSC said he sold a Oladipo moment for $125. Wow, that is a heist. Congratulations.
I was literally outbidding with Dan Bach trying to get all these cards for the Anthony Edwards. I saw my leader of my company.
It always because of me.
You're saying pouring his money, and I'm like, I gotta follow. I gotta chase this. Or else if you snooze, you lose. You're sitting back, And I held out for so long. I was like, this is dumb. This is so stupid. These are JPEGs. Like.
Yeah. Did you buy like anything else, like gorillas or what's it, monkeys? What's the one that everybody that was popular for a while?
Oh, it was the Tom Brady autograph.
No, I'm not talking about the sports ones.
Who's the gymnast girl?
All the DK ones.
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles.
Dean, you're talking about the Board Ape Yacht Club.
Yes.
You think I could afford an ape? You think I could afford an ape? No way.
I just gotta throw this in there before we get back. Justin Bieber bought one for $3 million. That's now worth $59K. I think I saw.
Yeah, remember Rudy Gobert would bought one, like the guy who created COVID, and then
well, I don't think that's probably not a fair assessment.
That was the craziest night, wasn't it? It was like all set off by Gobert. Like I was pulling money out of everywhere. I think these sites are going to go down. Like it was like crazy.
He touched every microphone.
But I just want to say one last thing. Fernando Rodney says it best. Like accountability is king. And I believe that. And I think deep down you believe that, Dean. So maybe do the right thing. Take some accountability. It's just an apology. Like I got duped too. I'm sorry. I recommended these things.
Isn't like Larry David and all these guys getting sued for
vouching for being in a Bitcoin commercial? Yeah, it was like something like some kind of exchange, like a Bitcoin exchange. I forgot what it is.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but several of them obviously has gone under. The Staples Center was called like the Crypto Arena or something like that. I think they're gonna be changing that. The Miami Heat Arena had to get changed as well. It's who could have foresaw it? Yeah. All right.
I'm sure there was a Top Shot Arena on the way. I'm sure they thought until Broham just couldn't figure it. The only one who did it right, only one who's doing it right is DraftKings. Like they're like rainmakers. Like that's like at least there's value behind it. There's utility. There's contests with utility. Like real. I love how I say utility.
You play those contests?
Value.
Play those contests.
Utility is just value, but it sounds more economic.
You sound smart when you say it. Oh, utility. Yeah. This guy knows what he's talking
about. How much utility? What's the utility?
Well, in my portfolio, here's what I have. It's my Rainmaker.
Yeah, they love that portfolio. Your Rainmaker's portfolio. It's like you're
adjust my glasses.
You're going to Merrill Lynch.
You want to give me the summary as far as pitchers?
Yeah, pitching's. I mean, pretty much every pitcher is in play. If you want, you can make a case for. Except for me, I would exclude Austin Cox. I would exclude Barria. I would probably exclude Bryce Elder because I just don't think he has the upside, especially against Cleveland. So, but everyone else and Michael, you can play Michael Grove, but that I don't recommend. I probably wouldn't but you could play him. You could make a case because it is Pittsburgh. They are at home. He's probably not going to go that deep, but he does have some talent deep down. But so that's like the one maybe. Everyone else, go for it. Blake Snell, it's the top. Joe Ryan is my top play. Blake Snell would be number 2. I love Logan Webb, but my favorite play, like Blake Snell is the top guy. But I think I would start every lineup for me. Brian Wu. I'm telling you, San Francisco strikes out a ton. Wu's got strikeout stuff. The travel narrative that they're playing late last night. And to have to travel back all the way to San Francisco, like this is just such a prime spot to pick off a bunch of Ks, and he's way too cheap. He's $6,600.
Well, the only point is I'm not sure how much I need the salary, but if I do need the salary, I agree with you. He's the first spot I would go to save that salary. I'm looking at our expert rankings. We have it Snell number 1. This is on DK for what it's worth. Collectively, myself, Keith Eister, the aforementioned Head Shopper, and the Luch. We have Snell number 1 because, look, he's 8.6 on DK. He's underpriced. He's 1.4K cheaper than Ryan. They're kind of sort of basically the same to me from a median perspective. They're 1 and 1A. Then Wu is third. He's 6.6K. We have Webb next. He's in between Snell and Ryan, but I think the other two are better. It doesn't mean Webb can't beat him. I think he's a really interesting tournament pivot. Then Wells, then Herman. A little bit of love for Keller and Elder. Gavin Williams is cheap, but the matchup stinks. But like in theory, I think he's fine for, if we're running 150. As far as our stacks today, Minnesota's number 1, and I disagree with that. I already said it before. I disagree with it. I have them 5th. Everybody else has them 1st or 2nd, and that's largely in part because I believe some of those stacks are going to be going away. They're going to be disappearing in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th inning, whatever it may be. Now, if it's a 10-2 game in the 4th or the 3rd, then maybe I'm probably buried anyway. So be it. On to tomorrow. But we don't know how long Cox is going to go. But when he finishes, almost definitely a righty comes in. And then guys like Donovan Solano, Kyle Farmer, Will Castro, Miranda, Taylor are all vulnerable to the pinch hit. We've seen Minnesota heighten their pinch hits more so of late. There's 3 lefties, Gallo, Kirilov, Julian, all lurking in that bench, all ready to go. So there's just danger. And look, Solano super cheap, Farmer super cheap, Castro super cheap.
I don't think Farmer has a ton of risk. They seem to play him. I don't think so. And I just looked on the bat, and it doesn't. And now the bat has been off with these sometimes, but
it's a fluid situation with the pinch hit guys. It's tricky to keep up with sometimes.
But like Solano is like he's got a 63%. And he's like definitely the number one like candidate to go. Then from there, Miranda is a potential. Michael A. Taylor, they love to get him out of there down at the bottom of the order. So I think those would be the most vulnerable. I think you just play it. You play the Correa. You play the two big bats you want, and then if you want, you use Vasquez as a catcher. I think Correa and Buxton, and then just make it a smaller stack.
Eric in chat says, as a Twins fan, we do pinch it a lot. It's annoying. The Royce Lewis injury might limit it to some. But yeah, they do still have those 3 lefties. I am correct. I think all those guys I'm pretty sure those guys are still available.
It should be Kirilloff. It should be
Gallo and Julian are all 3 lefties.
Gallo definitely. Yeah.
Alex in chat says, troll the Gallo one-offs. Yeah. If it was a showdown slate, I think you can absolutely play Gallo in a one-off situation. But in a 6-game slate, and you're a full lineup, you're really, really threading that needle to play a guy like Gallo and hoping he gets 2 at-bats, and one of those 2 at-bats he hits a home run, and hopefully somebody's on base. It's funny. It's a funny thought process. If there is a showdown slate, though, for sure, that would be a great slate to take advantage of, Minnesota, and take the guys that are coming off the bench. The one thing I would say that you're giving the story before, Kirkwood, you probably don't put them in the captain spot. Like that's the captain off the bench with the pinch hit home run.
No, but
it worked. I know. Good for you.
That's the genius part of it. In a game where it's not a huge home run ballpark, it's not a. I don't know.
I'm not gonna.
I think. Do you think he didn't mean? You think he he just had built that lineup?
Oh no, that was the plan. I think that it was a well thought out plan.
And it probably should have been more. It probably should have been for $50K first plus to probably have more EV. But I think it was a GOAT play.
Eric's telling us Brian Wu returns home to the Bay Area for the first time as a major leaguer tonight as the Mariners square off against the Giants. I guess Wu is from San Fran. Was not aware, but there you go. We do not have enough likes. We have TJ coming in about 15, 20 minutes or so. He's going to be bringing along Spidey, I presume. Get those likes up so he can fire off those Spidey bombs. You get Dave Potts, Cheese is Good, and you have Tasteful Tides. Tim, he'll give you his cash game plays. He'll give you his 3-entry max, single entry max. He'll probably tell you something's not fun as well. They'll be taking y'all straight up to lock. Kindly hit that like button. We do much appreciate that. Where do you have the stacks today? We have, again, Minnesota number 1. It's close for what it's worth. The average is 2.25. Atlanta's 2.75. San Diego's 2.75. I have Atlanta and San Diego, and then Baltimore. That's 1, 2, 3 for me. Consensus is Minnesota, Atlanta, San Diego, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and then the Yankees. Is anything too high? Anything too low? Would you move anything off the board completely? Would you add something to the board? What do you think of our stacks right now?
They're good stacks. I think Atlanta is. Atlanta, and then on the road too, with the extra at bat there, they just bring the most upside. Bat has them ranked 4th tonight as far as a team total.
Interesting.
Vegas has them 3rd. Minnesota has the highest team total, both by the bat and by Vegas.
Yes,
which is interesting. So I think you picked out the big bats, and maybe one other one that you feel comfortable with from the Twins, and then you look, you use it as a secondary stack, I think. But it is a great
Correa, right? That's the top 2.
Those are the staples, and then you maybe throw one more in there, because I think it's going to be, that pairing is going to be insanely popular tonight, Correa Buxton. But other than that, I think the Orioles are very interesting on the road. You had them higher, right? Is that what you were saying? Against against the
I got them 3rd. Yeah, I think I have a little bit higher than consensus. Yeah, I have them 3rd. It's interesting. Luch has them 1, and Chop's got them 4, and Keith has them 4. So they're in the mix for all 4 of us. Yeah, I don't really totally. Good for Herman for throwing his perfect game against Oakland, but this Baltimore team's got some power. Obviously, the lefty power is pretty good in this ballpark. I wish Mullins was sitting a little bit higher. He's still kind of buried in the lineup, even though he's a lefty, left on right. Typically, they would lead him off for some righty, but now Henderson has that top spot. He's solid as well. All-star, I think Rushman's an all-star. He's participating in the home run derby. But 1 through 7, even Frazier, the lefty, like his entire lineup up and down, I think it's kind of sort of somewhat interesting. I believe this is first blood revenge, right, for Aaron Hicks right away. Revenge for Aaron Hicks against his former team. He's super cheap as well. I don't totally buy into what he's doing, but he is cheap, and Herman's not somebody I'm not necessarily afraid of, but I like that Baltimore squad just in general. You said you have them third?
Yeah. And then, actually, San Diego Padres are ranking as the second, number 2. Is that what you guys had them?
They are. I have them 2, but consensus-wise, they're 3. But where are they on the gutless rankings is what we want to know, because I'm told that they're gutless.
They're
so
up,
what do we do?
They're extremely gutless, but you know who else is gutless?
Jaime Barria.
The Angels bullpen is gutless, and Barria doesn't go very long, and Barria's not very good on top of that. I mean, he's okay. So let me pull up my recent notes on Barria.
Yeah, but you were making fun of Ohtani left on left. He did Mr. Dong pointing out that 490-foot homer. It was insane. Who was that against?
I'm playing around because I lost money. Is Ohtani the GOAT? Of course he's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Is Ohtani putting money on him to homer every day? Yeah. Did he cost me money on Saturday night? Yeah. So that's why he's gutless right now. Okay. It's like he gets his week. It takes a week now for me to get back on board. This is just how it works. Recency bias. But
nobody's playing, by the way. Just a heads up, nobody's playing Ohtani tonight, which is just
they should, because if you get, especially with like Blake Snell runs up a lot of count. If Blake Snell's command is off, he runs up a lot. I mean, he's going to get the pitches in, but like it may only be like limited amount of innings if he has one of those notorious Snell starts. And first, I would imagine that Ohtani has difficulty with Snell with his like nasty kind of slider changeup that he has, both of them. And but still, I mean, he does give up a lot of fly balls. He's always been a guy people can homer off. Ohtani's the GOAT. So yeah, you could play him. Trout, you could definitely play 2 as well. And you get the leverage spot. But I think the Padres offense ranks out very high. I think Kim is a great play tonight. People still don't, even though he's leading off, people still don't like to play him enough. He's not going to be low owned, I don't think. But like the lineup does have a bunch of guys who can bang out some homers, and they will run, and that's what you want in DFS. So it's a good spot for them tonight, for sure.
I like Sanchez a good bit. I think I don't know how sneaky he's gonna be. Fanduel, people kind of ignore the catchers. He's batting like in the 7th spot or so. Barria, he's reverse splitsy, historically reverse splitsy. I'm not sure what he is specifically this year, to be honest, but I believe the bat has him listed. Yeah, he's a large reverse guy, at least throughout his career. I think Sanchez is kind of if you want one of those Dean's Dinglings or Dean's Dongs,
who doesn't want a Dean Dingling?
And I feel obligated to pick somebody on Minnesota against Austin Cox. So let's go with Correa. Is it Buxton, Correa? Who will be the
Correa and Buxton are too easy, but like then again, it's like then we make these picks and we pick someone like we off the board, like, oh, it's going to be Josh Smith for Texas, and then we look like idiots because we didn't just pick and then TJ gives Shohei as a Spidey bomb and he gets all the glory. You know what I mean? So it's.
Are you trying to say that Spidey just takes the easiest route?
No, he's killed it. He's killed it. He takes them from all over. He's killed it. I'm just playing, but
it's a fun accusation to make though, just for funsies. We're still waiting for Seattle, San Fran, the Dodgers, and Pittsburgh. Again, my understanding is it's going to be Grove pitching tonight for the Dodgers. I don't know if officially that's been announced. If it has, I missed it. It'd be great if somebody could pull that. Here's TJ hanging out in the chat. The last 2 were Nate Lowe and Brandon Nemo. So we hot. No, he's saying we. If he wasn't right, he'd be saying Spidey is cold, right? Is that one of those? That's one of those like, we won.
Yeah,
they lost
Spidey has been down lately. Spidey, I don't know. He's been a little under the weather.
Coming in about 10 minutes or so, you got TJ hanging out. Yeah, do you have a Juggalo bomb for the people? I don't know.
The Juggalo bomb. Here you go. Here's the Juggalo bomb. This is. I'm gonna shake it up. Juggalo bomb, Mike Trout.
Oh, that's shaking it up? What?
Yeah,
that's not shaking.
Because I usually give the off the board one that never comes through.
Yeah.
Although Jake Berger came through recently for a Juggalo bomb, but is that really off the board?
We got producer Devin today and not producer Steve. I'm not sure if producer Devin has access to the Juggalo bomb graphic. maybe he does. I don't know if they share the same. I don't know how that works behind the scene. How that sauce. There you go. Hey, Devin does. He does have access to the Juggalo bombs. Devin's on top of it. And Devin, if you have a gimmick too, by all means, feel free to fire one off. I don't know if you have any homers for the people. The people always want to know what the producer Devin is thinking.
I kind of have a feeling that people will probably be able to come up with a name for that better than I could.
Yeah.
Let's
throw it in the chat.
We'll throw it up to the chat. I'll just throw it. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was getting off.
I was just going to say my one nugget that I've kind of been picking up for today is that the Minnesota value is going to be chalky, and I think I might try to get to Pittsburgh value instead.
I think you're supposed to be under on Solano, Farmer, Castro, those guys. And again, if they're homer their first at bat, good for them. But I think that's one of the edges in this slate is to get under on the Minnesota players.
Dodgers bullpen, second worst home run per 9 on the slate here today. Their bullpen has struggled this season. So I like a couple of those guys. Brian Reynolds would certainly be in play. Sawinski had the worst last month, finally came back to life. Might get the top of the order spot is what we're projecting tonight. Is that true?
We have Sawinski, Reynolds, McCutchen, Santana. I like Santana a good bit at 2.6K on DK. I'm not playing cash, but I think that's a decent cash play. If you're looking to double down, double barrel on 2 starting pitchers, like 2 of the elite ones, I think Santana's one of those guys that's perfectly fine. The rookie Davis has got some power. He's got some speed. Beyond that, it gets ugly pretty fast on Pittsburgh, but the first 5, at least the first 5 projected, is pretty good. So I'm good with the Pirates as well. Let's see. Yeah, and you know how the expert survey asks, like, one of the questions is like, oh, well, what's one of the ways you get different? One of my ways to get different is I'm not going to fully stack Minnesota. At least that's.
I want to see I want to see quickly. I'm just going to try to build a 1 through 5 Atlanta just to see how hard it is.
It's tough. I was messing around before, and that's why I was talking about Grove.
Oh, you got to use Grove. You got to use Grove. Yeah, Grove Woo accomplishes that pretty easily.
Yeah, well, you're not going to use Williams because that's
so. Let's X out Grove and let's see what I got to do from there.
It's a good thought process, though.
Berea. Let's X out Berea and see what I got to do from there. Austin.
You can get to Ozuna and Rosario. Are you which you're going 1 through 5?
I just want to see how. So you could actually get one. Oh, you're going to need a min-priced bat to come through in the outfield somewhere. You could actually do it with Domingo and Woo.
Yeah, so here's the other thing, and I'm sure Reds Gallant says in chat that Blender did it earlier, Blender on his 11 o'clock show. And the interesting thing is, you're going to have the same lineup as everybody else too. Like, not just your Atlanta stack, your Atlanta 1 through 5, but how are you going to get it? Well, people are going to have Grove, and then people are going to
but people aren't going to play the 1 through 5. It's not. I did it the other night in the 888. I was unique, and like I could have shipped pretty easily, and I just didn't do the 1v1. I like that in theory. Well, actually, that was a 13-game slate too, so that differs. But like, no one's going to play Nick Gonzalez. You have to see what comes up here. But like, you're going to probably change it. It makes you can do it much easier if you get rid of like one of the big bats. So if you get rid of let's say you get rid of Olsen or Murphy.
Yeah, you go to Ozuna or Rosario or even.
I mean, you could do it without Acuna, that's for sure. But the problem is he's just always going to get there, whether he steals it, whether he hits it or steals it or both. I loved it. He got thrown out at third, trying to steal third the other night.
I think he stole second first, and then he tried to steal
third. He stole second first, and I was like, that's all I want is a guy working for my money. That's all I want. Yeah.
He's always working for it. He's going to have
the Diamondbacks do it too. The Diamondbacks work for your money too.
Who's the best salary saver on this slate? So that's the thing. It's the Minnesota guys. And here you go. Like, you could play 5-man Atlanta with three Minnesota, right? You got Taylor at 2-1. You have Castro at 2-3. It's so easy to do that. You can do a 5-man Atlanta and a 3-man Minnesota, and you just roll the dice on those Minnesota guys, like, not getting the hook or doing something their first couple of bats. But I think everybody else sees that too, right? Or no?
Yeah. So like Eric Gonzalez, and he almost, I had him in my lineup on Friday night, the one that was on with this Brave stack, and he hit the top of the wall. It was so tilting. He got like a 2 RBI double, but I was like, oh, he was like minuscule owned, and I thought I had it. But
if you have any questions, by the way, just not to cut you off, I apologize. Any questions in chat? Give us the details. We're happy to answer them. Let us know if it's FanDuel, if it's DK, if it's our tournaments, if it's for cash, if it's a wraparound stack, or whatever your strategy may or may not be. You're entering a large field, or single entry, whatever is on your brain. If you're staring at your lineups trying to figure out a 2v2, feel free to throw it our way. We're happy to answer as many of those as possible until we yield to crunch time. If you guys have questions for crunch time, throw your questions into the live stream chat. That's where they're answering their questions first. We've transitioned over there the last week or so, but if people are not aware, people just kind of struggling on over. They're wondering what happened to the other chat. Well, the live stream chat is where those questions will be asked. Let's see. Who are good infielders today to look at? That's a pretty broad question. Do you have any infielders that stand out to you? I don't know which position specifically, but feel free to answer that however you wish.
Infielders? Like value or just anything?
I'm just regurgitating the question.
I mean, like Austin Riley's an infielder.
Yeah. Do you like him?
Gunnar?
Didn't say him.
Yeah, I do. Gunnar Henderson's an infielder. I like Gunnar Henderson a lot. The cheap one would be Nick Gonzalez. Hoping he makes the lineup.
You betting Joey Chestnut tomorrow?
Should we take the over like fish, or should we be contrarian and go under?
I remember there was one year where Roth bet the under on him, or recommended the under because it was like 95 degrees out. I'm assuming it's still on Coney Island. That's where it is every single year. And isn't he getting up there? How old is Chestnut? He's got to be like 40, 45 at this point. I don't know when the prime of his eating career is. But
I don't know, but I felt so stupid the other day. I turned on ESPN and I was watching the reruns of the hot dog contest, and I thought it was live. I was like, "Oh, they're doing it early this year." I was like, oh, shit,
"Yeah,
I gotta get a bet in. What's the line?" Then I asked, like, "Who do I take?" And then it was like 2018.
Try to see what I think it's like 72.5. I saw somebody talking about it.
I thought it was 70. I thought it was 71.5, but maybe it's gone up.
I don't know. Maybe the sharp money's on the over. I'm not really sure.
Well, he's saying that he's saying all the right things, that he feels. It comes down to how he feels on that day, but he says he feels like he's going to break the record. His body's
flying armbar, top FanDuel GPP pitcher tonight. That's where it's a little bit different, I think, just because the prices kind of flip. Snell is 10.9 and Ryan is 9.9. Like Ryan's 1,000 cheaper. I think he's the best pitcher over there when you consider salary, but then he's going to be more heavily owned than Snell as well. Do you have a favorite GPP pitcher on FanDuel?
Favorite GPP pitcher on FanDuel? Let's go with Wu is priced up, right?
Yeah, it's probably not Wu because he's 9.2, and they're babying him a little bit where I don't think the quality start is like a lock. They'll pull him at 5 and change.
He's going to breathe. He's going to do it, though, tonight. That's the GPP spot.
I got a 3v3 from Brett in chat. Ryan Wu. So Ryan Wu and Farmer. It doesn't say if it's cash or tournament or whatever, but Ryan Wu and Farmer versus Webb, Grove, and Torres. Yeah, it's tricky. The first one's the better pairing.
Ryan Wu and who?
Ryan Wu and Farmer, cheapie from Minnesota. Webb, Grove, and Torres, Glaber for the Yankees.
I mean, the first one is obvious. The Ryan Wu is obviously better, but everyone's going to have it.
Olsen or Freeman in DK tournaments. I don't know if that's a one-off. I mean, I would say complete your stack if you're playing Atlanta, if you're playing Dodgers, but assume it's a one-off. Who do you prefer more as a one-off, Olsen or Freeman?
That's the cheese move that I think is extremely effective, and just like that, he's in here. But when you take when you take the one-off, when you take like an Olsen in your Atlanta stack and just replace him with Freddie Freeman, and you get the same exact upside, and you have a unique stack. That's the way to do it.
There you
these
go.
like
I hear
six gamers.
You say cheese.
And I learned that from the man right up there.
Not
It's such a fantastic strategy. I mean, it really is. If you just think about it for a minute, it makes all kinds of sense.
And it's like the easiest hand, and it works great on a hand build too. That's the beauty of it too.
TJ, you're playing the role of Kevin Roth. Is that I'm doing some little bit of math here, and I think unless Tim is, maybe Tim could be. I don't even recognize Tim without the beard. I don't like it. Tim Cash Money Buell. What did that happen? Who called him Cash Money?
I don't know who put that there, but I really don't like it, and I do not agree with this at all.
You're saying it's not fun. You don't the moniker. You don't enjoy that moniker.
I don't. I mean, it's fine. We'll allow it this time. But
Cash Money, I mean, that's great. There's so many things you can get little memes like Cash Money. Like you could show up. You could put a big. Steve could do a picture with you with the phone of all bricks of money. You know what I mean?
I like this new one better that they just put up. That's even better.
What's that drink? What's the drink in Maine? The coffee flavored brandy that everyone drinks?
Allen's coffee brandy.
And they drink it with milk.
Oh yes, they do.
And it's like one of the most ordered bar drinks there.
Number one. It's been number one for my entire adult life. Probably before then too.
By the way, I found out today. I'm going to betray Tim via DMs. Tim told me in confidence one more thing he does not find fun. It came out organically. Road trips. Who doesn't enjoy a good road trip? Like road trips are fantastic. I mean, Dave, I feel like you've toured like all 48. I imagine.
I mean, that was my whole life. I mean, I did like 200,000 miles a year for about 15 years, so I better like a road trip.
Yeah, that was kind of sort of your job also, but like, just for fun though. It's a fun. You enjoy a good road trip, right? I would imagine.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Dean,
yes.
I want to apply as the new Pepsi of your life. I want to do a baseball road trip with you someday.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. I'm down for sure.
We'll pick up Neefer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Grant, but like you on a road trip with Grant, I don't know. I think that's my limit.
I think in a car he might. I think he might belch a lot and might.
Yeah, it seems like
might get a little funky smelly in there. Yeah,
that was my first thought too. Is like I'm sure it'd be a lot of fun, but the smell in the car after a while might become pungent.
Yeah, that's a good point. I get too excited, and I just, I'm an optimist. I see the good in people.
I mean, you could pick him up for a little while. Just take him from like one city to the next, then just
especially with the way he eats. That we stop at Taco Bell or so. Yeah.
Want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? I feel like he can pull a Dumb and Dumber on us. I'm down for road tripping for Grant. It'll be interesting if nothing else. TJ, if you can pick one RG coworker to road trip with across America, who would it be? I'm putting you on the spot. And who's the one person you definitely wouldn't want to road trip with?
Person I definitely would not want to road trip with would probably be Blender. I just feel like he'd have a lot of.
I think that's the chalk. That's the chalk.
I feel like he'd have a lot of very specific.
I don't know. Cardi's the chalk too, right?
Cardi, yeah, that's true. That's true.
You'd have to look up data for every place you're going to stop. Yeah.
Why are you going there? You idiot! You moron!
I can confirm from my time in Chicago that I at least know I enjoy hanging out with Dre, Christy, and Squirrel. I think Luch and I would have a good time. I think Devin and I would have a great time. Same with me and Steve.
We could probably auction off road trip with Devin for charity and make like millions. Who doesn't want a road trip with Devin?
That's true.
I'm in. Yeah, Devin would.
You got to eat clean though. You got to eat clean.
The only problem is I hate road trips.
Bike trip.
Well, don't tell them until after the bids are in.
Yeah, tell me we're going down the street to my favorite breakfast place. Just that they like lock me in the car.
I think I would honestly, I think I would get along the best with probably Steve based on tilting personality. I think we would just degen bet we would only drive through states where we could gamble, and we would just tilt the entire time, and it would be
great Twitter follow. Great Twitter follow if nobody's not following him.
We got anything else, Kirkwood, before we yield for crunch time? Anything else in your mind? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
No, I just want to listen to these.
power
I just want
rankings
to
you
listen to
working
these guys and build some lineups. But I'm telling you, man, Woo, this travel narrative is real tonight, and this dude is going to crush tonight.
There you go. That was Kirkwood. I was Dean. The start of the Fanduel sponsor crunch time. You got Dave Potts. You have Tim Fun-Loving Buell. And playing the role of Kevin Ruff, it's TJ Zwarych. TJ, take it away.
All right, time for some crunch time. Thanks, Kirk D's. Thanks to Dean. We got two of the sharpest minds in DFS joining us today. As Dean mentioned, my name is TJ Zwarych. I'll be hosting today. Let's bump those likes up if you want some Spidey bombs. We got 113 right now, but over 400 people watching. I want the first Spidey bomb coming at 150, second one coming at 200, so keep hitting that like button. We got the very best MLB DFS player in the world joining us today. Cheese, how's it going? Dave Potts.
Well, happy, July 3rd to you. I kind of, at the start of the musings, I kind of let on that I have no idea what counts as a holiday to who anymore, but it very much feels holiday-ish. And as soon as we're done here, I'm going to have some like a little backyard barbecue party with some ribs and some fireworks. So it's good. I guess I'm doing great.
Love to hear it. And I pumped up Dave, but this guy's no slouch in the DFS streets himself. Tim Fun-Loving Buell, Tasteful Tides. How you doing?
Cash money, fun loving.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm doing well, TJ. Yeah, I've already started my fourth festivities. Eating a lot of burgers today, a lot of grilling already. So,
what's a lot of burgers already? Like,
do I really have to say on air?
As long as I will accept that as an answer.
I will say that I have not yet had dinner, Cheese, and I've had 6 burgers today. So
that is so glorious.
Is that a lot? I think
I'm going to have to update your name on here, Tim. I'll update it.
So yeah, there we are.
I'm not judging. I'm just a little bit jealous, if anything. So all the power to you, Tim.
Have fun in Canada, TJ. Okay.
Hey, I will. We had a good Canada Day 2 days ago, and I'm assuming Roth was busy for something July 4th related. So I got to pop in at some hosts today. Don't mind that one bit. But we got 6 games, not a lot of baseball, but some pretty good pitching considering it's only 6 games, and a couple decent offenses here today as well. Cheese, why don't you give us a rundown of your thoughts on the slate?
Yeah, it's really quite interesting as 6 gamers go. Like you say, it's pitching heavy, but there's still only, I don't know, a bunch of the pitchers like you kind of want to play, but you don't love them. So you've got kind of like condensed chalk, even though there's a lot of good pitching. And then the offenses, yeah, they're kind of obvious, but they're also sort of the obvious. Offenses are facing pretty good pitchers. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit tangled, and I kind of like it because I feel like we're still going to get some kind of clustered ownership around things that don't necessarily deserve it. Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Tim, how about you? Who are you prioritizing in cash games today, and how would you get a little different in tournaments?
Yeah, I'm really not enthused by the pitching on this slate. Feel like every time I'm on the show, Blake Snell's on the slate, and he's he's a scary guy. He's been amazing his last few starts. He is priced very, very, very low on DraftKings, and so for that reason, he is absolutely my SB1 in cash games. He is also going to be the highest owned. So if you want to pivot to somebody else in single entries or a large field, I have absolutely no issue with that. Blake Snell, he still has like a very, very, very high walk rate despite his, great strikeout upside. So he makes me a little bit nervous, but I am going to be playing him in cash games. On DraftKings, Joe Ryan on FanDuel, just because he's cheaper. They priced up Blake Snell more appropriately on FanDuel. Joe Ryan on FanDuel is going to be my SB1. Brian Wu, I think, is very, very interesting on both sites. He's a cash game option on DraftKings at 6,600. He is priced pretty high on FanDuel, but I think he could definitely be in the tournament mix. And I also really like Tyler Wells today. he just seems to continue to kind of perform very, very well. I think he is priced really nicely on DraftKings at 7,700, and he would be like a really good pivot, I think, away from kind of like the chalkier Brian Wu.
Cheese, what are you doing today on both sites? Because we got Joe Ryan with a bit of the discount on Fanduel and Blake Snell with the discount on DraftKings, but both picking up a heavy amount of ownership. How are you going to be handling that today?
Yeah, it makes me kind of want to flip them on the sites and play more Snell on Fanduel and less on DK, because you can make the salary work a lot of different ways, unless you're just trying to do like a high end Braves, Dodgers, or Padres stack. Anything outside of that, you can really make the salary work. And I mean, Snell will still be the most popular on FanDuel, but it'll be close and a little more spread out. So I really would rather play him a little heavier there. I'm not by any means fading him on DK. I mean, I think I'll be pretty close to the field. But like I very much agree with the Tyler Wells thing that Tim was saying. The guy's just good. And he and Brian Wu are super cheap on DK. I don't know what happens with the Domingo Germán ownership compared to Wu and Wells. I think all three of those guys get kind of clumped together, and I have Germán third, although all three are very close. The other guy that I don't see how anyone plays him, even though the ownership projections say he's pretty popular, is Logan Webb. Like, both the RG and the BAT ownership projections are showing him like 30+% on DK, which seems weird. Like, I don't think I buy it, at least in smaller field, higher dollar stuff. I think all that ownership goes to Snell and Ryan or down to Wu. So I kind of like Logan Webb to be a little different and to be very, very different. I'm always going to play a little Mitch Keller at this point. I mean, against the Dodgers, there's a ton of risk, but I fully believe in his talent. And on a slate where Blake Snell is going to be like 50-60% owned and I can get a 5% Mitch Keller, I mean, yes, please.
I got on my 150 build today on DraftKings. I got a hedge with my single entry, but in my 150 build, I got 150 lineups, 150 Blake Snell lineups today. That's kind of what I'm doing to get ahead of that 50% ownership projection on him today. And then my single entry lineup, well, it is a 5-man Angel stack, just in case we get a little bit of a wonky Blake Snell today, as opposed to the elite version that he's been lately. 13 likes away from the first Spidey Bomb, so make sure you're hitting that like button, because I got some home run bets for you. And you can take those home run bets and use them over at the FanDuel Sportsbook, where you can take advantage, if you're in a legal sports betting state, of their awesome bonus offer. New customers can get a bet of $20 and $200 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. So make sure you check that one out if you're in a legal sports betting state. 6 likes away from our first Spidey Bomb. Cheese, who do you like today for stacks?
Okay, so other than kind of everybody, I do think the Braves have to be considered the top stack, but man, like, the salaries are appropriately high, especially on DK. Like, if you put Acuna, Olsen, Riley, Albies, like, you're out. Like, you pretty much have to play like Austin Cox or something. And I do think Gavin Williams is good, like potentially really good. We don't know yet. So they're like sort of my favorite stack. I think the Twins are the obvious salary considered stack. But very officially, my favorite is the Pirates by kind of a lot. Michael Grove is not good. That's really all there is to that.
I was just going to ask you if you said anything about Michael Grove during your pitching breakdown, and I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I have zero.
It's because you love the Pirates. That's why. Yeah.
And we just now got the Pirates lineup. There's no Andrew McCutchen, which just makes them cheaper. The Dodgers bullpen is really not particularly special at this point. They're not like terrible, but they're not great either. So getting Brian Reynolds back, it's a little bit of a bummer not to have McCutchen in there. But I like seeing Rodolfo Castro in there as well. So yeah, the Pirates are my favorite stack with salary and ownership considered.
I like that quite a bit as well. I'm getting to a lot of Pirates today in my builds. Tim, who you like today for your stacks?
Yeah, definitely with Cheese. Atlanta's I would consider the top raw point stack on the slate. I really like the Padres quite a bit on both sites, and I think that they have a few affordable pieces, especially on FanDuel. But they're okay on DraftKings as well. I guess I'm not as down on Grove as Cheese is. So I think that like you could pitch Grove, and that will allow you to get to some of these big bats that we're going to want today. I totally agree with Cheese about the Twins. The only issue is it's going to be some pinch hit risk. We've seen them be very, very aggressive about pinch hitting some of their players. As we move along with the show, I'll make sure to pull up some of the bats pinch hit risk percentages, especially for that team, because I want to get to some of them in cash games, but I think we just have to be aware that could end up being a risk.
We talked a little bit about Pittsburgh, and we've reached 150 likes, so it's time for the first Spidey Bomb, and that is Jack Sawinski, my favorite salary saver on the slate today. You can find him for plus 500 over at the Caesars Sportsbook. Just phenomenal odds for him to hit a home run today, batting third against Grove. The Scores and Odds projection has him at plus 178 to hit a homer today, and you can get him for plus 500 at Caesars. So fantastic odds. Spidey Bomb number one. Keep hitting that like button, and we got another one coming for you at 200. Let's go position by position. Cheese, who do you like today at catcher?
Adley Rutschman is kind of the only guy I'm playing a lot of as a one-off. I certainly like Sean Murphy and Will Smith as other spend-ups, but I do prefer Rutschman as the guy. I think Gary Sanchez kind of mid-tier priced, and then Bo Naylor and Christian Vasquez are the cheap guys, and then everything else is just kind of tossed in the stack.
Tim, what about you? Who do you like at catcher today?
Yeah, Bo Naylor and Gary Sanchez would be my cash game guys. I'm totally fine with Adley and Sean Murphy today. I don't think there's really anyone else that I would play other than people in my stack.
I like it. Let's go over to first base. A little bit more exciting of a position. Cheese, of those catchers, are there any you're still playing on FanDuel? Like, does Rutschman still make it as a priority for you?
Yeah, very much so. So on the FanDuel side, Rutschman's pretty much the only catcher, like Smith and Murphy in stacks, because like Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman are priced up enough that it kind of hurts the rest of your lineup. I certainly like those guys on both sites, but they're priced up on both sites. So that makes me like Rutschman a little more on FanDuel. Josh Naylor is one of the only two Guardians that I particularly like. I like Ryan O'Hearn as a cheap guy. I just don't love the position. I mean, there's only so many guys available, like period, at any of these positions. But first base kind of dries up quicker than we're used to. So, on DK, like Carlos Santana at 26 is a fine, cheap play. But I do want Olson and Freeman if and where I can get them.
I think that makes sense. First and third today are two positions that I found aren't quite as strong as they usually are. I found myself punting first a lot more than usual today if I'm not going all the way up to Olson or Freeman. Tim, who do you like at first base today?
So I'm not a large field GPP player like Cheese is, but I would say that Shohei Ohtani is going to be completely forgotten today. So if you wanna like take a shot with him in a tournament, I absolutely love him. I think he's going to go super, super low owned. So I just wanted to just mention that. Cash games, Josh Naylor is a great play. I think Carlos Santana is fine too on DraftKings. On FanDuel, Ryan O'Hearn. I think Jake Cronenworth is a good value play. Jose Miranda is min price on FanDuel, so if you need that punt, I think the bat had him at like 15% pinch hit risk. So that I think that's okay. I think those would be good value plays.
All right. Take me over to second base today, Tim.
Yeah. So again, we have these cheap Minnesota players on DraftKings. Kyle Farmer, 2,400, I think is in a really good spot. I think Kim, as part of your Padres stacks, is a great play. Albies is great if you can get to him, but he's getting really, really expensive. So that would, he's tough to get to. Gleyber Torres is the top projected second baseman on the bat, but I'm not really that high on the Yankees today, so that might not be a play that I would do. And then Nick Gonzalez is min priced on DraftKings, so I think he would be a good play. And I think it's pretty much the same thing over on FanDuel, other than Cronenworth again he's second base eligible, and I really like him. I really like the Padres today.
Yeah, I like the Gonzalez call because if I'm full out punting at second base today, I would rather go Gonzalez than Farmer. I think based on that ownership by a fairly large margin. Who do you like today? It's at second, Tim. Or sorry, Cheese.
Yeah, I agree. Gonzalez over Farmer. And I would also I also don't love the Yankees, but I would play DJ LeMahieu ahead of Farmer if you have the couple bucks. Yeah, on DK, Albies is pretty silly expensive. Like a lot of the Braves, they have to do so much now. Like if Albies, Riley, Acuna, and Olsen all hit a home run, they haven't paid off their salary yet. Like it's such a tough sell at these prices, which is why I think guys like Torres will be more popular. I like Ha-Seong Kim a good bit. And then, yeah, I'm on board with punting like Nick Gonzalez. Even something like Rengifo if I need to.
Got me some Rengifo in my single entry right now since it's a full Los Angeles stack, and he's got a pretty good lineup spot today. Cheese, who do you like at third?
I like Jose Ramirez. I like Gunnar Henderson.
I hate Jose Ramirez.
Well, there you go.
Yesterday, this is a quick tilt. It's hosting crunch time, so I won't take very long for it. But if Jose Ramirez would have just gotten a double or more last night, would have been a big 5-figure betting day. He was 0 for 4. I had basically given up all hope. And then the Cubs, who are down 6-2 in the ninth, score 4 runs in the ninth, take it to extra innings. Ramirez gets one more at bat. Nothing. Finishes the game 0 for 5. That was a tough pill to swallow yesterday.
Well, did you text him and let him know? I mean, that's probably on you.
I did, and honestly. He didn't answer. So just fully gutless, as the guys on the last show would say.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. He does check his phone.
He commented in chat. Is Jose Ramirez gutless? Yes. Jose Ramirez is incredibly gutless.
That is really uncalled for. I apologize on his behalf. And yet still I like him. You can play Gunnar Henderson at third or short, and then Machado and Riley. That big top 4, I think, kind of splits up the ownership such that I wouldn't really worry about it and just play who you like. Any of them in even a mini stack is going to kind of stand out. But it's a tougher position to punt than the other spots. I would much rather just punt second base or catcher or even an outfield spot and pay up for one of those guys.
Tim, who do you like today at third?
I love Jose Ramirez. I don't really care what TJ says. But I think that I think in cash games you should probably be punting the position. I think Manny Machado on FanDuel is way too cheap. I think he would be my cash game guy. I think even somebody like DJ LeMahieu is very cheap also on FanDuel. Castro, 2,200. I've already talked about Miranda. So there's some really good cheap plays at third on FanDuel. And then on DraftKings, it's a little bit harder because Machado is much more expensive. Gunnar Henderson is in a great spot. That might be the person that you want to land on. If you don't have the salary, then I would say that it's Miranda or Farmer.
All right, take me over to shortstop, Tim.
Yeah, so on FanDuel, Fernando Tatis would be my top spend up option if you have the salary. I'm very high on the Padres today. If you don't quite have the salary for Tatis, then I think Carlos Correa would be in a really good spot at 2,900 on FanDuel. He's not really a guy that you have to worry about getting pinch hit for, so he would be my guy on FanDuel for cash. And then same thing on DraftKings. You don't have Tatis at shortstop, but you do have Betts. He's probably too expensive for cash games, but I think Correa would be a guy that you could get down to. And if you don't have the money for Correa, I think it's Castro.
34 more likes for the second Spidey Bomb. Keep hitting that like button. There's almost 500 people watching. Nice and easy stuff. Take your little mouse, slide it over, give it a click. You're watching on your phone. Press hide chat. Then you hit that like button. 200 likes, and we got a Spidey Bomb. If you got QQs, I'll be looking first to the Discord live stream chat for our RotoGrinders member in our Discord. And then second, I will be going to the YouTube chat. We still got 20 minutes before lock here. Lots of time. So we'll definitely be able to hit some QQs as well. Cheese, who do you like today at short?
Certainly Tatis on FanDuel. And Mookie Betts is definitely my favorite Dodgers bat. Carlos Correa and Gunnar Henderson, I think, have to be the chalk just because of where the pricing is. And certainly, like on FanDuel, the difference between those two and Tatis and Betts is pretty crazy. So I would just play Correa like in a cash game. But if you can get up, I think that's the better play. On the DK side, I guess Correa is still the chalk. Like he and Henderson probably kind of split it up. I'm fine with like a cheap Nick Gonzalez, although you probably prefer him at second base. And then like Bobby Witt and Xander Bogaerts are just kind of weird little leftovers that fit in a stack, but yeah. So most of my lineups, even though I don't want to just play the obvious things, Correa and Henderson are in most of my lineups.
Still 20 minutes before lock, and I got my 150 lineups and my single entry in. The bets are in. We are good to go and done. Ready to focus 100% on the hosting gigs. Outfield is a pretty strong position today, Cheese. How are you prioritizing?
It really is. Acuna, Tatis, and Buxton are probably my three favorite plays on the whole slate anywhere. So I do prefer to spend up in the outfield. Like even if that means punting, not punting, but going cheaper at pitcher to get those guys. And then the salaries are pretty different between the sites. So like on the FanDuel side, like a Jack Sawinski is a perfectly fine play, but not the kind of standout that he is on DK with the discount. Because you could play, Stanton, Jock Peterson as a one-off, the cheaper Braves outfielders, all those guys are around the same price. And then Buxton will be the kind of mega chalk of the slate on FanDuel at 31. And that's good chalk, but I would be a little cautious just going crazy on him, because if you can spend up again to that same group, the Tatis, Acuna guys, like that's really, you're getting an ownership discount on superstars if you can find the salary. So ideally do that. But on DK, I think Sawinski, he's my favorite play. I don't think he'll be as popular as he should be. Again, I think Michael Grove got sent to the minors for a reason, because that's where he belongs. But other than that, I'm just kind of throwing darts at random cheap stuff. Nothing.
All right, Tim, who do you like today in outfield?
Yeah, I totally agree with Cheese. Acuna, Tatis, Buxton, those are by far the top three raw point plays on the slate. Sawinski should definitely be in your cash games on DraftKings. He's not as affordable on FanDuel, but I still think that he's fine for cash. I'm curious to see kind of where these Baltimore like outfielders, like these lefties like Mullins and Santander kind of land in tournament builds today. We saw Herman have an amazing game, obviously last time out, but I'm I'm not so convinced that he can keep doing that. If you're looking for like a lower owned, I think kind of like tournament value play, like Henry Davis is very, very cheap on DraftKings at 2,500. Like, putting him in instead of Sawinski or something like that, just to like, differentiate a pirate stack, I think is a good play for tournaments. And then you've got some of these cheap guys on Fanduel, like Buxton is a must in cash on Fanduel. And then I think even like, I talked about Ohtani. Like, if you want to do like, a contrarian stack, like with the Angels, like a guy like Taylor Ward, just to be different in large field, I think is a really strong play.
Great calls. We got some times for some QQs. Before we get to those, though, Cheese, I got a question for you about Pittsburgh specifically because, like you, I like them quite a bit today. They're one of my favorite stacks. I'm playing 150 lineups, and I find that in terms of 5-man stacks, I just really can't get to them because I don't need to save all that much salary, and there's enough spend-ups that I would rather go to them as opposed to just leave all that on the table. I got them as my highest-owned 3-man stack, but one of my lowest owned 5-man stacks. Is that similar for you, or are you finding yourself able to full stack?
I actually have a bunch of 4-man stacks on DK for that same reason. It's like I did go ahead and leave the salary on a few lineups just because that's something different and a way to play them. But yeah, similar, like when it comes down to like you can play, Jared Triolo or go up to Austin Riley. I mean, yeah, it's pretty hard to pull that trigger and leave the salary. So yeah, I'm with you. I have more like 4-man rather than full 5-man stacks.
All right, we got time for some QQs now. I'm looking at the live stream Discord chat first, then we'll be going to the YouTube chat second. 18 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 2, so make sure you're still hitting that like button. First one, FanDuel Cash. I'll throw this one to you, Tim. 3v3. Snell, Miranda, and Farmer, or Ryan, LeMahieu, and Torres?
This is FanDuel, right?
Yeah, FanDuel Cash.
Second one.
DK Cash, so this one to you, Cheese. Wells and Kim, or Wu and Gunnar Henderson?
Wu and Henderson.
QQ, did anyone touch on any weather concerns? I'm pulling Roth's weather page up right now. We got some maybe late rain in Baltimore, but not expected to be a problem. And then Roth says his main line is clear, but there's some good agreement about back building of storms to create a potential delay. I still expect this game plays. I'm not sure a delay happens, but models think there's a chance of a delay. And we're not really planning on playing any pitchers in Kansas, or I guess we're absolutely planning on playing Joe Ryan. Sorry, yeah. But I don't think that's going to be something we're going to have to worry about till too late. I'm obviously not Roth, but I'm personally not changing anything in my builds with that. Are you going to be adjusting anything, Cheese?
No, that sounds likely enough to be fine.
I need to see yellow. I need to see orange before I worry. Like that's kind of the like if I just see yellow, I'm basically treating it like it's nothing. FanDuel Cash, Tim, Sawinski and Solano, or Reynolds and Miranda?
Reynolds, Miranda.
Cheese, DK Cash. I already have 3 twins. Should I go Solano or Santana at first base?
I prefer Santana.
FanDuel GPP, I'll keep it with you here, Cheese. Castro and Santander, or Correa and Grisham?
Correa, Grisham.
Tim, DK Cash, Machado, or Gunnar Henderson?
I mean, if you can get to Machado, I prefer him. But I prefer Machado. But you don't have to like blow up your whole team to like get him. So if you need the savings, Henderson is a great play.
If you could only pick one to homer tonight, who do you got? Tatis, Soto, or Acuna? I'm throwing out Soto because that's not the answer. It's Tatis or Acuna. Cheese, which would you take to home run today? Tatis or Acuna?
Tatis to homer.
What about you, Tim?
Yeah, I was going to say Tatis also.
Acuna to score more DFS points because of a couple steals, but Tatis to homer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one quite a bit as well. Somebody asking about a Spidey bomb. The first one was it Jack Sawinski, right? Yeah, geez, I'm getting so bad at remembering when we do these right at the beginning of the show. First one was Jack Sawinski. Second one still on the way. So 15 more likes, and we got Spidey bomb number 2. Stanton or Rutschman as the last spot in a FanDuel cash, Tim?
Both great. I'd guess I'd go Stanton.
DK cash, Cheese, Farmer or Gonzalez?
Gonzalez.
Tim, they don't have a format, but which do you like better straight up? Albies and Carlos Santana or Matt Olson and Trent Grisham?
I guess the first one.
It's in a FanDuel GPP if that affects anything.
What was it? What was the 2v2 again?
Albies and Carlos Santana or Olson and Trent Grisham?
Yeah, I guess it's the first.
I think both are pretty solid options there.
Yep.
Who do you like better as a one-off in a DK GPP, Cheese, Olson or Freeman?
Oh man, Olson.
DK GPP, throwing it back to you, Cheese. I have Baltimore and Pittsburgh stacks, and with Santana. Okay, sorry. He has a Baltimore and Pittsburgh stack. Would you rather he gets the full man 5-man stack with leaving salary on the table with Santana, or is he fine going to O'Hearn? So it's still Baltimore and Pittsburgh, but he wouldn't have a full man.
Those are both extremely viable. Personally, I want Santana in my Pittsburgh stack. So I just prefer Santana ever so slightly ahead of O'Hearn anyway. But if you like O'Hearn better than Santana, then you're totally fine going that way.
Geez, I want to throw this one to you because I know that when Cardi words things this way, it always starts a fun argument. Is Buxton today one of those plays that if you don't play him in cash, you are bad on FanDuel?
I can't come up with any reason why you wouldn't play him in FanDuel cash. Yeah, I mean, no, you're not bad if you can fit Tatis and Acuna with a punt cheaper than Buxton. I could see a case where you could do that, which would not make you bad. But he should be in your FanDuel cash lineup.
You'd be bad. Let me answer that. You'd be bad.
9 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 2. DK single entry. Thoughts on a San Diego and Pittsburgh stack together? I'll throw that to you, Tim.
I love that. I'm fine with that. I love anything San Diego today. So
DK GPP, Cheese, Rutschman and Willie Castro, or Sean Murphy and Palacios?
Rutschman, Castro.
QQ on FanDuel, Tim. What are your thoughts on a Giant stack?
They're not on my radar. I'm not really on them. I don't know. What do you think, Cheese? What do you think about the Giants? I'm not really on them.
Yeah, I kind of like a mini stack if Wade is in there. Wu looks like an absolute superstar against righties. In MME, yeah, I have a Giant stack because it's a 6-man slate, but I really only like Jock Peterson with one of the catchers, and then if Wade's in the lineup.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question for me for FanDuel Cash, but it's Wells and Ryan, or Snell and Wu for DraftKings Cash build. What I'm confused about that one is Ryan's more expensive than Snell and Wells is more expensive than Wu. So I don't know how that would exactly work, but I would rank them like Snell is my absolute priority for DraftKings Cash. And then my SP2 is either Joe Ryan, which is technically an SP1, or Wu, dependent on like the rest of the lineup and who I'm going with there. I probably would be going Wu with Snell and looking to pay up for some bats there. Going back to a couple questions here in Discord. We got 10 minutes until lock. Let's see here. FanDuel Cash throws to you, Tim. Miranda and Acuna versus Machado and Soto.
Both really good. I guess the first one. They're both good.
FanDuel single entry Cheese, Stanton or Kim straight up?
Stanton.
Yeah, the only way I think I can imagine going Kim there is if I had 3 Padres in my lineup already, and I'm trying to turn it into a stack. Cash, DK Cash, Tim, Ryan, Miranda, and Sawinski, or Wu, Correa, and Buxton?
That's really tough. I think the Wu. Let's put it this way. I'm going the Wu side, but if you want to go the other side, I have no issue with that.
Just to recap, Tim said, "I think the Wu."
Tim thinks the Wu. Tim is a Wu guy.
I'm going to go with the Wu.
Tim is a big.
That sounds like a good song. I don't really do that style of music myself, but I think the Wu that could become a TikTok.
What is that style?
I don't even know what you would call it. I hear it in my head, and it's pretty catchy. Maybe I will work on it.
I know. I was trying to make a Woo Girls How I Met Your Mother reference. I know if Steve here, he would appreciate that one. I'm pretty sure Steve's a big How I Met Your Mother fan. 5 likes away from Spidey Bums, and I'm telling you what, Chad, I'm holding you hostage. I'm not getting home run calls from anybody until we get up to 200 likes. So give me those 4 more likes, and I got home run calls for all 3 of us. FanDuel utility. We don't have a format, but Tim, who do you like better, Machado or Stanton?
Machado.
All right. Let's see here. Tim, what do you think about Garcia, the third baseman of the Royals today?
Nah, I think this is too tough of a matchup to get cute with that.
Geez, somebody missed pitcher talk. Who are your very 2 favorites on DraftKings today?
I mean, if you have money, just the Ryan Snell chalk is good. And then Woo, I think the Woo as the cheap guy, he and Tyler Wells.
All right, Spidey Bomb number 2. You can find him for plus 400 on Caesars. And it's Gunnar Henderson for me. So Jack Sawinski and Gunnar Henderson are the 2 Spidey Bombs. Cheese, who are your homer calls today?
Jack Sawinski. You can't just take Jack Sawinski. I mean, you can, but I will also take him. And a little different, Taylor Ward.
Jack Sawinski and Taylor Ward. So that's double. Cheese and I on the same guy. I think the last time that happened, it was Christian Walker who doubled on. So Jack Sawinski likely going yard today. Tim, who do you like to hit a home run?
Manny Machado and Henry Davis.
All these Pirates homers. It's very exciting times.
This is, I think it definitely depends on the slates, depends on the specific players. But Cheese, generally speaking, how do you decide between leaving money on the table with a full stack or going up for a one-off?
Generally speaking, just look at the 2 players, and if they are, air quotes, kind of close, add to the stack. If they are not close at all, play the better player. So like the earlier example, if it's Jared Triolo to finish a stack, or you can play Jose Ramirez, I'm going to play Jose Ramirez. But if it's like Brian Reynolds to finish a stack or pay up to Buxton, I'm playing Brian Reynolds because they're close.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. FanDuel GPP, Buxton or Ozuna, either would complete a stack, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, if you're one-offing Buxton in a GPP, that's a little bit sketchy because on FanDuel, because he's going to be
either one would complete a stack. He's got 3 of both teams right now.
Oh, okay. I say in large field, take a shot on Ozuna.
Cheese, Olsen and Rosario, or Acuna and Cronenworth?
Olsen, Rosario.
5 minutes to lock. Make sure you get your lineups in. Single entry DraftKings. Cheese, I'll throw this back to you. Carpenter and J-Ram, your 2 guys. Carpenter and J-Ram, or Santana and Machado in a San Diego stack.
Did you say something to me?
Yeah, that was you. Sorry. It was
I missed it.
Okay, it was Cheese. Your 2 guys, Carpenter, Matt Carpenter, and Jose Ramirez, your guy today. or Santana and Machado. It's a San Diego stack, so he needs Machado or Carp would be the last pieces.
I hate that this is my answer, but it's Santana Machado.
Ha! Good. DK Cash, Tim, straight up. Gunner or go up to Mitchell if you have or go up to Machado if you have the $500 sitting there.
If you got the $500 sitting there, I say definitely go to Machado.
Cheese, large field tourney. How many points do you need from a pitcher at 13K? I think that definitely depends on how many points you get from your stack and how many points the other pitchers have on the slate.
Well, it totally depends on the rest of the pitching pool. That's the thing. Like, if the rest of the pitching pool is decent, then you need like 35 DK points. But if it's a weak pitching slate, you don't have to get as many. So that's too theoretical.
Yeah, I think Strider last night, like the last time he was like 12-8 or whatever he was there, above 12. I think he only had like 23 points, but other than Abbott, who went crazy, I think he was the second highest scoring pitcher on the slate. So in that case, that's all you need from a guy at that point. If you have 500 extra in DK cash, Tim, do you use it for Acuna or stick with the Tatis?
That's, I say you just go to Acuna.
So basically, that's the same person that asked the Gunnar Henderson question before. So I think the question is basically, do I want to go Acuna and Gunnar Henderson or Tatis and Machado?
Right. Yeah. So in cash, I guess it's the Acuna side.
DK cash, Cheese, throw it to you. Best second baseman, 3K or under. That's got to be our guy Gonzalez, right?
It is. Like, if you want to take the chance that Kyle Farmer doesn't get pinch hit for, he would make more sense. I'm just a little too worried about it, so I prefer Gonzalez.
Or 3K or under, and it's cash. Would you rather go DJ LeMahieu leading off?
Yes, in cash.
That's who I would have answered. Is DJ.
I actually looked at under 3K. But 3K and under, in cash, LeMahieu.
Yeah, that same thing as that I just did. I was looking at under 3K, and then but then when you see LeMahieu is right there at flat, it's pretty good. FanDuel, let's say this is a tournament. Sawinski or Stanton, Tim?
Stanton.
Cheese, you getting any Cleveland today in tournaments?
I have exactly one Cleveland stack, and I feel like it's a terrible lineup. I don't love it. I like J-Ram, a little bit of Naylor, and a little bit of the other Naylor.
What about the Dodgers, Tim? How do you feel about the Dodgers on DraftKings?
I mean, they're the Dodgers. I mean, they're an amazing team. I think you should always have little bits of them in your portfolio. I think they're a little pricey for cash games today, though.
Cheese, who do you like better today, Kim or Gunnar Henderson?
Gunnar.
We have reached lock. Somebody was asking about any potential weather concerns. Only maybe in Minnesota. There's a small chance of a delay. Roth's got it at yellow. And so I'm not worried about that one. I'm not changing it personally at all, but it's always important. Make sure you got Roth's notifications on Twitter, because even when he's not on a show, he's still tweeting. And so if that weather changes, a storm fires up in Minnesota, something like that, Roth is going to tweet about it. That game is until 6:05 Eastern time. You're still going to have time to make sure you can swap off if something crazy starts happening there as well. We got a nice 6-game slate. Good luck to you all. Hopefully you win a lot of money today. We're going to be back for the early slate tomorrow on July 4th. Happy Independence Day to all of our American friends, which is almost all of you. I'll be back in the morning. I can't remember who I'm on the show with, but I know I'm going to be back on Crunch Time in the morning for that daytime slate. Cheese or Tim, you got anything else for the people before we get out of here?
No, happy 4th, everyone.
Yeah, happy 3rd/4th/ I'm about to go eat some ribs.
I did see a question for you, Cheese, before we get out of here. Cone cup or cone in a cup?
I like cone in a cup. I think that's the way to play.
That's what I go with.
If you spill, you still got it there in the cup. But I mean, me personally, I really like eating the cone. With the cone, when you get like the ice cream there against the edges and you get that little crunch with the ice cream, like it's delicious.
Really, like a waffle cone is really what you want.
Yeah, and from Broccoli Boy Cheese, Tim's guy Broccoli Boy. It's a very important question. Which cheese would you recommend for my broccoli tonight?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I do not recommend cheese on broccoli. I recommend just salt and pepper.
Just salt and pepper.
That's all I can say.
What about you, Tim? When
cheese
you're
is not good.
Your broccoli, when your boy is providing you with the broccoli, what are you putting on?
Salt and pepper is fine. Definitely no cheese with broccoli. I'm all set with that.
Maybe a little lemon juice on there. It's pretty
sure.
Pretty tasty.
Yeah, I think that's what Longhorn does. Their broccoli's pretty good. There's like a little hint of lemon on that.
You know what's really underrated too is when you fry up your broccoli. I like fried up broccoli, fried up cauliflower. It's pretty tasty, and most people don't cook it that way. Or same with like an oven baked broccoli, so they get a little crunchy on the end. It's absolutely delicious. Recommend. But that'll do it for the show. We're way past lock. We're talking about broccoli and cheese now. We might as well get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow on behalf of my wonderful co-hosts Dave and Tim, and of course, best producer in the game, Devin behind the scenes. You have been crunched.